Live in action at MJ Unpacked.
You want to do the wave, Ari?
Are you ready? You gotta wave it.
I'm ready.
You gotta wave it.
Oh, wait.
It's a new
wait.
thing.
I can't. Wait.
I'm really bad at it.
Did I break it? I saw that earlier. I loved it.
It's a tsunami.
So it's over here.
Oh, she almost went down on the side.
Welcome back to Mita Unshackled, where we talk to some of the thought leaders and important people in the cannabis space who are doing all kinds of things. But we're fortunate. My co-hosts.
Destiny Blanco. Ari Munoz.
And Destiny's the producer as well. Ari is the color commentator. Something like that. But we're pleased to be joined today by Brooke M. Westlake, is that right?
Westlake, like the west side of the lake.
Westlake.
Westlake in the house. BMW, those are my initials.
Oh, nice.
And we're still here at MJ Unpacked.
Yes.
We go to a lot of conferences. Yeah.
Okay.
But it allows the conference attendees to, put down some information on a podcast, and we send it out for the billions of people out there to see on the internet and for future generations and whatever. But Brooke, you are Women in Cannabis Expo.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about yourself, how you started in the cannabis industry, and then we'll talk about the expo.
So I will tell you all this, just people love hearing this. If you would have asked me 10 years ago if I'd be in cannabis, I would have laughed you out of a room. I came from a 20-year background in healthcare, and the last company I worked for the last 10 years, we closed in 2018, so I decided to go do my master's. I just got accepted, did my master's in criminal justice. Awesome. Right when I got accepted, I found out I was pregnant with my second kid, and they're like, you're going to need more time. And I'm like, I got businesses to open and things to do. Like, I'm out of here in a year and a half. But so I finished my master's degree, and right as I was finishing my criminal justice master's degree, I went and was meeting with a mentor of mine, and I was looking at buying a fingerprint drug testing franchise, healthcare background. And one of the things I did in my last 10 years was we worked with inmates and provided them healthcare equipment for telehealth. And people are like, what? I'm like, inmates get healthcare.
Yeah.
Like, it's a market, okay? So I was meeting with my mentor, and I said I was looking at this fingerprint drug testing franchise, and they said to me, you should open a cannabis testing lab. It would fit really well.
What year was this?
This was in 2019. Oh, he's taking notes. He's getting the whole story. Are you gonna write? You gonna write my book for me? I love you. You're hired right now.
I'm an ex-prosecutor. I'm used to having a legal pad and taking notes.
Okay.
Asking questions. So
I love it.
I'm just dating everything.
Okay, perfect. So we had the conversation, and they said you should open a cannabis testing lab. So we started down that path with investors and whatnot. I am in Nevada. I still don't have the lab because licensing for cultivators, dispensaries, and labs has been shut down. How they distributed them, they got sued for it. Mm-hmm. And so, but what came of that, when I launched the lab, I also simultaneously launched the Expo for Women in Cannabis. I was at a large trade show to meet my vendors in 2019, and who do I need for my lab? Like, who are all these people? And they had a women's night, and I thought, well, that's amazing. What are all these other women doing in the industry? And they just kind of put us in a room with drinks, and I'm like, well, where's the keynote speaker? And like, where's the food? I was accustomed to a couple of things from healthcare, and they didn't have those things, and I thought, well, that's kind of strange. Okay, went home, said to my ex-husband, we were still married at the time, hey, I want to spend some money. I want to go to a couple trade shows for women in cannabis, and I couldn't find anything. So I went back to the investors for the lab and said, hey, would you guys feel comfortable with me launching an expo for women in cannabis? And they said, wait, what? There's nothing out there. And I said, no. And they said, you have to do it. You have to do it. So I just jumped on it, and that's been my path the last 3 years, but it's been fantastic because I've met amazing women such as yourselves who are in these leadership roles and helping women get into the space, helping women network in the space. But then it also helped me see that there's such other markets that are missing for women, and that's how I created my Legally Blonde and Blunt, which we went in for trademarking. That is our e-commerce brand, so it's all the pink and the girly. Like, if you want a glitter pipe, you come see Brookie. I will hook you up with glitter. And when I got educated on the cannabis itself for consumption for myself, because that same year that I launched both companies, I almost died, and I was taken by ambulance to the hospital. I was within a couple hours. They had to remove a whole section of my colon. It was awful. I was in the hospital for a week. But by the end of that year, I was so sick. And so I went into a dispensary, and I didn't tell them I worked in cannabis. And I just said, look, I tried cannabis 20 years ago and had a massive panic attack. But you got bad pot or good pot. You did not get, like, the terpene profile is such with a little Hawaiian tropic. Right. Like, you didn't get all those things. So they educated me on it, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. So I bought some flour, and I'm like, I want a pink pipe. And they're like, we don't have that. Why? Why don't you have a pink pipe? Yeah. So I've been able to really see there's some niche markets that haven't really been adapted to for women. And I'm just a girly girl, and so I like the pink and the bling. But I struggled for about a year to come up with a name. And finally someone said to me, you were like the Reese Witherspoon, the Legally Blonde of cannabis with your background, with your healthcare and having the masters, and people kind of underestimate you. And I was like, I'm all the things. So Women in Cannabis Expo and Legally Blonde and Blunt.
And if you remember the movie, there was one person that Reese Witherspoon, was that was her name? Mm-hmm. She looked up to, and that was Brooke, the girl who was falsely accused of murder.
Exactly. I love that you remember that, because I watch that movie like once a month. And I love that gal's name is Brooke.
Yeah, it's a good legal movie. Liar, Liar, and Legally Blonde are two of my favorite, like,
comedy. You guys hear that?
Oh, yeah, we got to explain the bond.
That's the gong in the background.
So, we are here at MJ Unpacked, and different conferences host us. But the gong, we have a gong alert or something?
A ganja bong back.
The gong represents, they ring it when somebody makes a deal, which is pretty cool.
Oh, I love that. Well, congratulations to them making a deal. That's fantastic. We're cheering them on right here.
They rung it and ran.
So you have a few different projects going on. Women in Cannabis Expo, you came up with that idea in 2019?
Yes.
And then COVID hit in 2020.
So we signed our hotel contract in February of 2020.
Oh, that's not good.
Right? And then March, the state shut down. But here's the thing. Life, everything works out the way it's supposed to. I'm a firm believer of that. And so I kept promoting. August, that month, a month before I was supposed to have my first show, September of 2020. That's when I ended up in the hospital. And the next day, as I was literally like fighting for my life, like tubes, like I have a 12-inch incision here.
But not from COVID.
Not from COVID. From having this, I had what's called a volvulus bowel obstruction. So my insides literally knotted on themselves. And why it becomes so critical, you have arteries, and if you don't get help when you have something like this, it blows up. Like, you literally just rupture and bleed out.
That is crazy.
So
that'll be Brooke Part 2 next
Brooke Part 2, yeah, because like all the things that have come along with that have been a lot. And cannabis is literally at this point keeping me alive. It's I'm missing a nutrition valve, but the hotel called me. I'm like in the hospital, tubes everywhere, and they're like, so if you'd like to have your event next month, you can have 40 people. And I'm like, I have 40 speakers. And I said, and I'm trying not to die right now, so I think we're good. Why don't we just with COVID, why don't we just put it and table it the same dates for 2021? And of course the hotel was like, great. So we had our first event in 2021, and we knew it was going to be well received, but it just gave me more time to promote it. So I promoted it for a year and 8 months prior to having it.
And what month in 2021? September?
September.
Okay, so is there a 2022 show? Did I miss that? I wasn't.
So I decided I'm just such a woman, go-getter. Everybody loved having one show, and I was like, okay, instead of one show, let's do 4. So this year what we decided to do was I shook it up a little bit, and we do a one-off, just a one-day event. We had Atlantic City, New Jersey was in May, Denver, Colorado was in June. We just had our Las Vegas show 2 days ago, and then next month will be our final show for this year, 2022, in San Francisco.
Nice. We need to get them on the META email list. We have a pretty 35,000 person email list.
just a small number, right? Yeah. That's such a big number.
I've been developing relationships in the cannabis industry since 2012.
Okay.
So I've been to about 200 conferences, all this other stuff. So we have a pretty good database and a pretty good reach.
Yeah, we've been going to all the conferences.
You guys should be at our conference.
So is it mainly women or only women, or males invited?
Males are invited. I get asked that question a lot. And here's the thing I tell people. We want males there. We want the support. We want you to help uplift your female coworkers or your partner or whatever you're doing in the space. We want that, and we feel like some of my biggest backers are actually males. And so, but I get random emails. It's a women's thing. Yes, we are women-centric, but we can't do it unless we have a whole host of us together, uplifting each other.
Yep.
And on Tuesday, it was very powerful. One of the guys that just walked by here, I had met him there, and he was like, yeah, like all the things of the women out there.
So cool.
So we love gentlemen to come and support us. Yes, you're invited. Yes, you can sponsor us. Yes, you can have a booth. Come tell us what you're doing. How can we help your brand? Maybe you need to pull some women into your brand.
Yeah.
So when is the one coming up?
October 27th in San Francisco.
October 20th. That's the day after our META event on the 26th. So.
Okay.
But next year.
I'll make it.
She's like, I'm coming. I'm in.
She could probably go. But next year, are the events and dates set up for next year yet?
They are not yet, only because I've been so busy with the 4 shows this year and then finally launching the Legally Blonde and Blunt. But now, once I get through that last show, I'll have a little downtime with my vetted products, and then also start getting the show dates for 2023 together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, look at META USA. Right now it's still META AZ. It will evolve into META USA slowly as the interstate market develops. That's why we're focused on brands. This is a brand show.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's interstate commerce and being able to manufacture and go across state lines is the best interest of brands, consumers, and patients. And we're looking forward to an industry that's developed around that, and not necessarily the how do I control my market structure, my supply chain share, which we see a lot of in cannabis. So META USA is focusing on those themes. But certainly, and we'll be based out of Phoenix, but certainly we'd like to invite you to maybe do something in Phoenix.
Collab?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A collab.
Women in Expo.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, let's do. People have been begging for us to come out to Arizona, Florida, New York, back to Denver. They want us back in Vegas. And what's the other state? There was another state, and they've been begging us. But Arizona's been big. Oh, Illinois, Chicago region. Yeah, they want us. There's a whole women's group there. And they're
There is. It's huge. Have you heard of the Blunt Brunch before?
Yes, we're trying to figure out like how we can be cohesive and have some.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'll connect you.
Let's do
it.
it.
They're a great group of women. They're
Yeah.
actually
And,
here at the show.
Yep.
In November, they're having something at MJ BizCon as well. Super Bowl. We're having a lot of stuff around the Super Bowl.
Oh, I like that.
Consider doing the women's. What do you call the
Women in Cannabis Expo. You can just
no, but the
Weiss.
quarterly.
The quarterlies, well, the goal was really to have them quarterly, but what happened is the first 2 shows, I got COVID this year for the first time. And so we were supposed to have like our first one in March, and I had to move it to May. So we had our first 2 shows back to back. It was like Atlantic City, May, Denver, June, and then I had a nice break for summer, and now we're like Vegas, and then next month is San Francisco. So I actually just stacked them.
So the smaller Women in Cannabis Expo are still called Women in Cannabis Expo?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Well, we should look at
The
doing
large
one.
women.
The
large
large
group of
conference.
women.
Well, the Vegas conference was the big one, and then she chopped it up. So
Well,
maybe
no, but
women
they're
come-
all still really big. I average between 200 to 300 people per show.
Okay.
So it's really, I think the caveat for me was moving it around to give people more ample opportunity to
Yeah.
join us if they couldn't travel to Vegas or they couldn't travel West Coast. So we started East Coast and just kind of moved our way back this year, and it seemed to be really well received that way.
No, that's cool. That would be a nice ancillary add-on to all the stuff that we're going to be doing during the Super Bowl with the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, not officially with the NFL, but around all these NFL players.
Oh,
stuff.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
we're doing
newly. I've been
Maybe we'll-
divorced for a year and a half and single, ready to mingle. So
Let's go.
I am there. Like I'm ready to hang out. Like maybe I'll find my future NFL, NBA husband.
Right.
I don't
Yep,
know.
they'll all be
I'm
there.
manifesting
So
it.
pass me the ball. Put me in the game,
Pass me
coach.
Oh, I like you. She's got all the pickup lines. This is gonna be my wing girl. I'm gonna be there.
We'll be
for
right
it.
there. I'll be right there beside you. Be like, this is my girl right here. Brooke, hey.
By the way, she's single.
I think they're single too.
Perfect.
Brooke.
Let's be like wing women together.
There we go.
You got what was the sorority
them
that Brooke and what was Reith?
Delta Kappa.
Delta Nu.
They were
Delta
Delta
Nu.
News, and
Oh
you
my
didn't
God.
behave like that. They were all Delta News. That was my sister.
What was it? You did the snap.
She's like, you got to do the bend and the snap.
Yeah, snap.
Like
Oh
when
my
you do the bend
gosh.
and the snap.
Hold up,
yeah.
ready?
Oh, yeah.
Bend and the snap. She was doing all the things.
You
love
haven't
it.
seen this movie.
I haven't seen the movie,
You
but I've
have
seen
not
Legally
seen
Blonde.
it? Oh,
I
she's
think-
got to see it.
What year was the movie come out?
It was actually 2007.
Yeah, so
I was gonna say,
what
like,
year
been
were
a
you
minute.
I didn't
born?
watch movies then.
It's been a minute. It's
I was
been a
in the
minute.
womb.
Just don't watch part 2. Part 2, I don't know.
So how do people find you? What's the best way?
They can find me on all of the social media platforms. They can email me at womaninCannabisExpo@yahoo.com. Of course, if you Google my name, Brooke Westlake, it will pop up. I'm the only one out there. If you just Google woman in cannabis, I pop up, I'm at the top. So there's all those different ways, but of course we're on Facebook, Instagram, LeafWire, TikTok, YouTube, all those fun platforms that we like to use, we're there. So you can find me everywhere.
It's interesting. I love Legally Blonde. I'm a cross between all the male characters in Legally Blonde. I'll be honest about it. The nerd, the ex-boyfriend, the new boyfriend, the lawyer boss. I have characteristics of all those people. And it's interesting how Hollywood creates art like that reflects reality. Not important.
I love it. I love it.
You're going to start a Men in Blonde now.
Glad to
Men in Blonde.
Well, we are doing
blonde.
My sisters, they wanted, we're doing Legally Blonde and chocolate. We're making some extra shirts that are going to say Legally Blonde and chocolate for my sisters that I have, that I just love them. And they're like, yes. And I was like, perfect. But we're still like creating product, and you know, like I said, we sent it in for trademarking. So Women in Cannabis Expo is us, and it's all about uplifting all those other women brands. And then this is my own other women brand that I'm happy to help cater to all those women. When you want your glitter pipes and your glitter dabbers and all those things, I'm like, you come to Brookie. I'll take care of you.
What's your necklace over here?
My necklace is a heart. But I do have some I have a cannabis diamond earring up here, and I do have a cannabis gold one that I wear. Oh, I love from High Point. That's where my diamond earring up here. Okay, I'll take another one. I'll wear it.
So this is the freedom podcast.
I want all the things.
Come on. So this is for you, being a guest on our podcast.
Oh.
We're big supporters of High Point. Glenn Murray was a friend of mine. He recently passed. Pam is his wife, who's still in the cannabis industry in Arizona. And Glenn and I bonded over our mutual interest, which is freedom. And both of us have tremendous respect for the fact that the cannabis movement, the cannabis people, the cannabis industry is all about freedom and all about choice, all about free will and how it's represented in humanity when it's competing against the interests of the community, of the group.
Right.
And Glenn and I are really into that, and he created and designed this Freedom dog tag. So he passed away, so that's our symbol at META, and we give those out to our guests. So you've earned one. Wear it proudly.
I'm going to put it on, like, right when I hop on. I'm open. Look, I'm opening. I'm doing the thing.
And,
I'm doing it now.
But you're already buying from High Point Jewelry. And
I did. I spent like $1,000 with them last year.
Okay.
I was like, where's the real diamonds? And they're like, over here. I'm like, yeah, I need a set of that. And I was like, I got a pendant with diamonds in it, with like the chemical compound for THC. So yes, I am going to put this on right now because I will wear all the things.
Big fans of the Murrays, and we thank you for being on our META Unshackled podcast.
No, thank you for having me. I was really happy to be a part and like sit here with all you fabulous people and talk about all the things.
There's more. You haven't met Rita and Bree yet, but they're ninjas.
Are they Canna ninjas?
Canna ninjas.
Yep, that's a thing. Somebody's going to need to trademark that.
I was going to say, let me go buy that.
Cannapreneur. Okay, so when you think about words,
Jedis.
you look up some of these words. Like go to GoDaddy and type in like
Why
Cannapreneur.
am I doing that right now?
Because you got to see, it's crazy. That domain is like, I can't even remember what the number was, like 3 million or something. But if you can think of, that's what they consider to be computer real estate, is buying domains, that you come up with these brilliant ideas, but maybe you don't want to execute it. You buy the domain and then you list it up for sale later, and someone will come in and they'll create their brand.
Yep.
Yeah, we own a few domains like that.
Yep, I got about a couple pages.
You have to. It's like part of the investing right there.
Right, you got to invest in yourself.
You got the real estate going.
So please consider taking up us on our invitation.
Yes.
You guys work with her and maybe coming out, doing an event in around the Super Bowl. We're gonna have a ton of activity. We're doing a big project leading up to that.
Okay.
Or in Arizona.
Yes. Well, you had me at Super Bowl and
Single.
and NBA play, NFL, NBA, NFL, all the things.
And the artists and the halftime show.
Oh yeah, I'm there.
All right. Well, thank you for thank you for joining us on another episode of META Unshackled.
Thank you for having
next
me.
week.
Thank you. See you guys
next week.